Welcome to Spyder Auto's step bar installation guide for the Nissan Rogue. Before we get started, you'll need the following: a 13, 16, and 17 mm socket, and you'll also need a 1/4 inch titanium drill bit and a drill. Here we have the parts list for your step bar kit. Take a look, you should have everything listed here. Now, as we zoom out, you can see that we've laid out everything approximately where it's going to go. You'll also notice that there's an Allen key included. We've laid out our brackets approximately how they're going to go. We'll start just behind the front wheel. You'll need to remove this round plastic plug. Use a panel popper to remove it. And there we are. Now you'll need to locate the smaller bolt plate. Insert the bolt plate into the hole with the bolt plate arm facing towards the front of the car. Locate this small bracket with 2 holes in it. Mount the smaller bracket as shown with the secondary hole that's sitting flush against the rail towards the rear of the car. Install the elongated but smaller L bracket with the slotted side facing the rear of the vehicle, as shown. Install a large washer over the L bracket onto the bolt plate stud, as shown. Then install a 17 mm nut over the washer. It's worth noting that you should not include a lock washer on this particular bolt. Install the bolt about hand tight for now. We want to leave some room for adjustment later. Now we're going to move slightly so we can see the other side of the bracket. Notice how there's a hole here that's obstructed by the body rail. This is where we'll be drilling. This is where that 1/4 inch titanium drill bit comes into play. Drill a hole in the body rail as shown. It's worth noting that even though there's only one hole to drill, it may take you a while to drill it. Remember that hex key bolt? Now you'll need to install that hex key bolt through that hole we just drilled. Then on the reverse, we'll install a large washer, a lock ring, and nut onto the back side of that hex key bolt. Remember that Allen key that came with it? We'll tighten the bolt down with that. For now, thread the hex key bolt and leave it about finger tight to allow room for adjustments later on. Now we need to move inboard from the bracket. Remove that 13 mm bolt. Remember, it's the second one from the front. Remove the 13 mm bolt, but hang on to it, we'll need it again in just a moment. Now locate the eye bracket and position it as shown. Mount it using the same 13 mm bolt, and then reinstall it. We'll tighten this particular bolt down a little bit extra to support the weight of the bracket. Now moving outward, we need to install a 13 mm bolt and washer through the L bracket to the eye bracket. Install another large washer, a lock ring, and a 13 mm nut on the other side. Okay, this looks good for now. Now we'll move to the rear. Here we are just ahead of the rear tire. Looking up from here, you can see the holes that we'll need to install our bolt and nut plate into. Insert your bolt and nut plate as shown, making sure that the nut plate hole aligns with the opening in the body. This is where we'll be mounting the rear bracket. Locate your rear bracket and mount it as shown. Notice that the hole in the bracket aligns with the hole in the body and nut plate. Install a 17 mm bolt, lock ring, and large washer into the nut plate to secure the bracket. Now for the bolt stud of our bolt plate. Install a large washer, lock ring, and 17 mm nut onto the bolt plate stud. As with everything else, leave this about finger tight to allow room for adjustments later. If you've left enough slack, it should support the bracket, but you should still be able to slide it around a little. Now to mount the bar. Now it's time to mount the bar. Verify you have the correct step bar by verifying that the holes in the bar and the bracket line up. Now you'll need to locate and install two 16mm bolts. Add a lock ring and then a large washer onto the 16mm bolts before installing them through the bracket into the bar. As with everything else up to this point, leave these about finger tight to allow room for adjustments in the bar later. Now we'll move down and do the fronts. Once again, you'll need to locate two 16mm bolts, add a lock ring and then a washer, and then install the bolt combination through the bracket into the step bar. And again, leave it finger tight to allow room for adjustments later. After adjusting the bars, now it's time to tighten everything down. Tighten the two 16mm step bar bolts. Now we'll move to the rear. And now we'll tighten down the two 16mm step bar bolts back here. Okay, now we'll switch over to a 17mm. Now we'll go ahead and tighten the 17mm nut and 17mm bolt that secure our rear bracket. Now back to the front bracket. Now to tighten down that hex key bolt fully using the supplied Allen key wrench. Now we'll tighten down the 17mm eye bracket bolt and nut. Now we just have to check the bars for tightness. Give them a few firm tugs to ensure that they're on tight. Congratulations! You've successfully installed a set of Spyder Auto step bars on your Nissan Rogue. Videography, voiceover, and editing by NITRO Nick. For more information, visit spyderauto.com or find us on Facebook. Thanks for watching.